asking about what our plans are for the LSU baseball season. A lot of eyeballs is all I'm sending.
We got a lot of good things happening for the baseball season. I'm glad that'll give us a little talk.
Could be some moving parts and all.
We're gonna have some moving parts. Listen, we have, fortunate enough, me and Jared have been able to build some relationships throughout the course of the SEC. Right, we know coaches at different schools. You know, players that played at different schools that are playing at a high level in Major League Baseball. We have friends that are coaching at other schools. So we are going to have some access around SEC baseball that a lot of people don't really have, right? And we're going to take the way we look at baseball and the way we talk about baseball, and we're going to take that version and talk about everything. Now, obviously, 90% of that is going to be LSU baseball. LSU baseball has an extremely talented team. We just told you they're ranked number 1 in perfect games poll that came out today. Right, they've been ranked 1, 2, or 3 within all the polls that have come out. So
they've been number 1 in every poll that's come out.
Every poll.
There's only 2 of the big 4.
I saw one that had Ole Miss at number 1.
I don't think that was one of
I don't know what poll that was. 4. I don't know what poll that was. But they've been ranked number 1 on all the major polls. They have a lot of hype to it. I told you, preseason polls don't really mean anything. You have to go out there and win. But if you enjoyed our baseball coverage last year, which, hey, listen. Our show, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of our show. We almost made it for 1 year. January 17th was our first show last year, right? We jumped right into the deep end, and we jumped right into baseball season. New coach, a lot of new players on the team. How are we going to get this going? What are we going to start doing? And we just said, you know what? We're just going to wing it. We're just going to put ourselves out there and figure it out. And I feel like we did a pretty good job. We weren't ready for some of the big stuff that we did, but we did it, and we got through it, and we gave you a good product. And part of that was Jay Johnson being so generous with his time and being on our show every Monday for about 2.5 months during the baseball season. That is going to continue. Obviously, it's not. It may not be on Mondays. We are still ironing out some of the details, but Jay loves to come on the show. He loves to talk baseball, and we are in conversations right now about how to make this work and how to give you more baseball content throughout the course of the year. So keep your eyes open. It's happening. It's coming really soon. It's January 4th. The boys start, I think, real team practices starts in the 17th or something around those lines in a couple weeks.
School starts, which is the 17th.
So our 1-year anniversary, baseball starts back up. That's weird how that all works out.
Suck me.
So they start, then their first game is February, usually the middle of February.
44 days.
Yeah, whatever that is. But we will have a ton of baseball coverage for you. We will be maybe going to some road games. Maybe we're going to have some really cool stuff. Open to suggestions if you have any.
We need to have all.
The boys might make their way around the SEC.
We're going to try.
It's possible.
We need to have Coach back on soon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, it's after the holidays. We're good. He had some conversations.
I haven't heard from him in a while. I'd like to see.
All right, we'll
check in with my guy.
We'll make it work. But to answer the chat's question, yes, baseball is going to be a lot of fun. And
you better get a whole lot of Mik'd Up.
I'm not trying to brag, but I'll brag a little bit on us because I think we've earned it, and there's nobody else around us, this area.
You got 2 All-Americans
that's going to talk.
How about me and Logan?
That's going to talk baseball like we're going to talk baseball. You're not going to get. Everybody can go and look at the stats, and everybody can go and talk to interview the players and talk about and ask the questions that everybody wants to hear. But you're not going to get the real baseball questions and the
nuances
that we are going to ask and bring. So if you're into that kind of stuff,
y'all made Paul Maneri cry.
I mean, have that effect. You made Jay Johnson laugh.
What a swing!
Y'all are part of the last team that won the whole damn thing here. So
yeah, it's been too long. What the hell?
It has been too long. 100%.
I'm not.
I think that's the common. That's the common mindset of everybody from our team. I think people kind of think it's kind of been long enough.
We're not in the camp of saying, "Oh no, we want to be." No.
Y'all don't want to be the last ones to win.
I don't care about it. No,
y'all go ahead. Listen, we've had our time in the sun. It's been a long time. They deserve another one, and they should win one this year. I believe that.
How much pressure has he put on? I mean by Jay, but with the noise that he made, and obviously LSU being ranked as highly as they are in nearly every poll, I mean, this is something that they have to welcome, right? Like, that's the message that he's putting in the locker room is like, look, I'll always go back to his press conference at the end of whenever they lost in the regional, and he looked like,
yep.
This ain't ever happening to me again.
With great expectations come great responsibilities, right? And I think he embraces that, right? So obviously they are supposed to be very good, but let's key in on those words, supposed to be, right? The talent on paper, the guys coming back, all of the preseason All-American teams, like all of that kind of stuff. That's all great. It shows you that they have the talent and the capabilities of being as good as they want to be. But you have to go out there and you have to play. Listen, sports are baseball in particular is a very finicky sport. Anything can happen. Anybody can win any given day. A&M wasn't supposed to be as good as they were last year. They ended up being the top 4 team.
One of the last 4 teams.
Bianco was supposed to be that good, and they were never that good until the end of the year.
They were the last team in. They ended up winning the championship. And so you just never really know. It all, there's injuries happen. Guys get in slumps. Baseball is a very hard sport. I don't think, obviously you never know injuries. I think that these guys are focused. They're ready to go. I think Jay Johnson is embracing these expectations, and I think that his mentality and the way he is going about all these expectations is rubbing off on the guys. They know what's going on. They see what's happening with the social media and all of these preseason rankings, but I don't think that matters to them. I think that they want to go out there. They have a lot of guys that aren't going to be here next year. They're going to go on into professional careers, and I think that they're ready to go out there and say, this is our time. I'm sick of not being in Omaha. I'm sick of not winning the national championship. We have all the pieces ready. Like, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to go out there and we're going to win. We're going to play well. So I think that you're going to see a very, very good product on the field. And I don't think you're going to see the rankings and the hype really get to their heads. At least that's my opinion. We'll have a lot of the guys on throughout the course of the year. And, it seems like they have a really good time when they come on here. So we'll have a lot of baseball content for everybody.
Excited to talk to my guy Coop again.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I wonder what his role is going to be like with all the guys they got coming in.
Gamer.
I mean, he'll probably be the long guy out the pen, I would imagine. Lefty matchups. I know he's Jay's guy, so he's got the trust in Jay, right? Like, Jay's trust him a lot.
If you were on deck and you saw him come in, what would your first thought be? Like, if you didn't know him and you just saw him, you'd be like, I'm about to hit him. I'm about to take this 500 feet. Yeah. And that's not the case. He just gets people out.
He knows what he's doing. He probably used that against them, right? Like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try to hit this ball a mile
to keep the body the way it is.
I mean, maybe.
So you're saying he's not in shape? I can't wait until he comes in here again.
He knows what he looks like.
I can't wait until he comes in here again. I bet you won't say that to him.
So just to put it into perspective, right? Obviously, you had a bunch of guys coming back to LSU that were very talented baseball-wise. Like, you have Dylan Cruz, you have Trey Morgan, even Gavin Dugas came back. You have all these guys. Grant Taylor's projected to be a first, second rounder. Like, you have all these guys that are coming back that are very talented and very good. On top of that, you go into the portal and you bring Tommy White, who was rated number 1 on the transfer portal list, right? You bring him in. He's a sophomore, so you get him for 2 years. You bring in Paul Skeens, who is number 2 on the transfer portal list.
So you got 1 and 2.
You get 1 and 2. He comes in. He's projected first rounder. He is the college version of Shohei Ohtani. He throws 100 and hits home runs. Like, that's what he does. He is projected to be a first round pick. Then you bring in the number 7th rated portal transfer, and Thatcher Hurd, pitcher from UCLA. He has 2 years left in school. And then you bring in the number 29 rated transfer portal guy in Christian Little, and Christian Little's projected to be second, third rounder. So you bring in 4 guys in the portal that are ranked in the top 30, 3 of them ranked in the top 10, to add on to
I was about to say, if you just had those alone, you'd be like, oh, we're set up for a good year.
Yep.
But you're adding them to already.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you have Grant Taylor's projected first, second round, and you have Ty Floyd is projected second round. Mm-hmm. So you have 2 guys already coming in with some experience.
With 2 other preseason All-Americans.
Right. Plus, you have other pitchers that came in here. Bryce Collins did really well. His velo's up. And obviously, the biggest recruit of all, I think, is Wes Johnson coming in from the big leagues, right? Because all these guys were talented, but do you have a guy who can put it all together for them? And I think he's doing that.
I told you, I heard from a source very, very, very close to the program that he's never seeing a pitching staff in college this deep.
Listen, I heard
and this source has been around college baseball for a long time.
I heard that when it's all said and done, when all these guys are gone, like whenever they're leaving LSU, they have a chance to have 5 first-rounders just on the pitching staff alone. Mm-hmm. At least 5. And that's not counting the offensive guys. So that shows you how deep.
If you don't know too much about college baseball, based off of that alone, just off of that alone, I don't even have to speak to the offensive side of the ball. Based off of that alone, you are setting yourself up to be very, very, very good when your pitching staff is that deep in college baseball.
It's going to be a fun baseball season. I can't wait to talk about it. Lloyd, during baseball season, is very chirpy on baseball because he loves baseball. Then we start talking baseball, and you don't say anything.
I'm trying to be better.
What do you mean? No, baseball. This is a conversation. Let's have some conversation about it. Do you have any thoughts on the baseball season? Here's pessimist Lloyd.
Fuck. Everything that happened with Tennessee and how I don't think LSU has that same kind of mentality in terms of like they had some big like we're better than everybody energy like halfway through the year. I don't want LSU to enter that kind of territory, but I do want to play with that chip on their shoulder because, like you guys said, it's been far too long. 2009 was the last time that LSU won a national championship. You have the reputation. You are, as when you talk about blue bloods in college basketball, LSU is the stalwart for college baseball, and it's been almost 13 years since LSU has they got close against Florida. You lose Eric Walker, and then just the way that things have played out, you haven't been able to win a natty. And like you said, it's very hard to do it, and I feel like there's part of me that is pessimistic that says because it's so hard and all of the flowers that LSU is getting, it makes me nervous for Jay Johnson and the target that he's put on his back.
It's hard to say they should win. They should go to Omaha and make a deep run in Omaha, and then at that point,
I say this: it's hard to say they should win. It's hard for me to also believe that they won't be one of the last 8 teams remaining,
right?
Which means you're in Omaha.
Is that still a success to you?
Is it a success? We talked about this. It depends on how it happens. They go 2-Q? No, it's not at all. They go 1-2. I'm still kind of like, not really. I expect them to get there and play well there, which I think would, get them past the
biggest game in Omaha is the first game.
Yes.
If you get through that first game and you get
but we say that here's the thing though. We say that and based off of what I just said about that pitching staff that they have this year, if you lose that first game, I don't think there's ever been a staff that's set up to go through.
I agree,
situation
and I say it's the biggest. The first game's the biggest game, not because of you have to get through the losers bracket. That's not why. I think it's the biggest game because you get through that game and you can say,
yes, you can exhale.
We're here, right? Now you lose that game, and you put, whether you want to believe it or not, whether it's subconscious or not, you put added pressure on yourself saying, okay, we are better than this. We don't need to go 2-Q. And it's just, it makes the mental part of the game a little bit harder. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but
I'll just say this. Going to it twice and being in a situation where we lost first, and then for me, the mental part of it, that's cool. That's all great. But setting up a pitcher staff, like I know when we were there your freshman year and you put the 3 horses we had on the mound, we felt like you could have put the Yankees in there. Hey, we probably got a chance. When it's not that, it becomes tough. That's where the mental side of it comes. Well, you take this team now, who is as deep as they are, and I feel like those guys won't be in a situation mentally where they're like, oh my God, we got to play here today because we don't have our horses on the mound. I think they got a lot of those guys this year. So I think you're going to find a team, if they find themselves in that situation, that it's not going to be like most teams in that situation.
It's not only that, to me, it's the added expectation of going into this year. It feels like...
But that's what you want.
Yeah. For sure.
Everywhere.
And
you only come to school here because that's what you expect.
No, but I feel like there's going to be added eyes that haven't really paid attention to baseball because of all of the offseason hype and all the people that they added.
Well, I mean, it's not Tennessee.
I think it goes other way, though. I think you look at that as a concern. I look at that as an advantage. I look at that as if I was a player and I was here and I was going into this year and there's added pressure, there's added eyeballs, and people are hyping us up. Like, I love that. Bring that, because it's not going to affect the way that I prepare, and I don't think it's going to affect the way these guys prepare. And that's a credit to Jay Johnson. I think what it's going to do is it's going to motivate them and it's going to get them excited. It's going to make the games matter more in the sense of like, damn, we're going to go out there and look at all these people that are here to see us. Like Jeter said it in his documentary. All these people paid all this money to watch me play. So I'm going to make sure that I'm out there every single day unless I can't walk to play, because I'm going to give them what they paid for. I think that they're going to take that mindset. I'm going to go out there and put on a show.
I think this hype and all of this that they're getting through the course of the whole season, I think you end up seeing a better product in these midweek games that they play. I think you end up seeing a sharper team on the weekends when they play, simply because they know the target that's on their back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I don't think it brings them to a situation where they're like, they kind of, I guess, burrow into a corner. I think it's going to end up bringing out the best of them.
I also think it's going to bring the energy back to Alex Box.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last year, like, it got pretty good towards Ole Miss and stuff, but, like, it's usually every weekend. Yeah. It's packed out. I think we'll see that this year.
And if you want to make the adjustments to the stadium that a lot of fans are asking for, that we think that needs to happen, I think that Jay wants to happen, you go out there and you win this year, it's going to be a lot easier to go and ask, say, hey, give me that money. Yep. Look what we just did. You see that other championship that we just put on the board? We're going to go. You see because last year was the first year we didn't get the most fans, right? We lost that stretch.
First time
in like 20-something years.
Oh, yeah, a long time.
And so, like, hey, look at what we did. We've built this back up. We're at where we need to be. I'm saying it was down, but, like,
it felt stagnant.
You didn't have to build it up. It was just, okay, it was like a sleeping giant. Like, why everybody just kind of got complacent. Now you have this hype, you have this team. You go out there and you win. You add championship number 7 to the board, and
it's a lot easier to get those bullpens, man.
Absolutely. So,
and I feel like you can see that LSU. It feels like a little bit of a changing of the guard. Obviously, when you hire Scott Woodward and what he's done with the staff that he's put in place, you see it even with Matt McMahon. Like, I don't think he expected to see that crowd in Arkansas. LSU is. It feels like the fan base is bought in on almost every sport because it just feels like you're in such a different place now, to where everything feels a little bit more consistent. You bring in Kim Mulkey, you talk about asking for change. She didn't ask for shit. She just did it. And so if you're Jay Johnson, like, there's a page you can take from that book. But whenever you see how much the fan base is even bought into basketball, it feels like it's just a breath of fresh air for LSU. Like, the energy around the entire university has changed.
Absolutely. And I think that it's exciting, and it gives a lot of energy, especially to, like, boosters and, with NIL and all that stuff. Like, that's, a tricky thing to navigate as far as, do I want to give to the school or do I want to give to NIL? You know what I mean? Like, but it's brought the excitement back to LSU sports, right? Obviously, football always has it. It's always going to be there. You just, with the 10-win season, and then obviously baseball getting to the regional and kind of falling short, feeling like they kind of underachieved. Now you have the number 1 recruiting class, number 1 transfer portal class, number 1 team preseason in the country. There's a lot of energy that is being put on LSU. A lot of good energy, right? Good energy. Yeah, and so it's going to be exciting to see how this team grows. But the guys who are leading the ship, not necessarily the staff, not the coaches, but the players, they're the guys that you want leading it, right? They have the right mentality, the right mindset. They know what they're trying to do. I think it's important to enjoy yourselves a little bit, like, to where you're enjoying your boys and your teammates, and you do a lot of things together. I'm not saying go out there and run the town all the time, but, like, go do some stuff, go to dinner together, have parties at people's apartments. Like, those are important. I think it feels like this team does some of those things. No, I don't know.
I think something that's going to end up playing huge for them is, so you bring in such a highly touted transfer portal group, right? With guys that are really, really, really good, have made a name somewhere else, and have a very, very high future perspective, right? It'd be easy for those guys to come in and try to basically, like, if we're talking about those 4 players, try to show, I guess, 4 different ways of doing what they do. But when you already have on the team some very highly touted players, not just older guys, literally very highly touted older guys, they fit in and they form way better into a situation where they don't have to feel like they have to take over the team coming in as the new guy, right? Yeah. So you got these older guys that are here already I think that sets up a perfect situation for them.
It's a lot of what you've seen with LSU football as well, right? Like, whenever you say, it starts at the top. Like, Brian Kelly has established a culture people are worried about.
But even more here. Think about it. Who is LSU's football's Dylan Cruz before the year?
Kayshawn would be it.
But he was your highest talent. But right. But he wasn't as proven as. Right. So my point is we know what you're going to get out of Dylan.
The culture is the culture.
You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It's different. Like, you brought those guys in to be able to follow somebody who works that hard, who has put that much on the back of the baseball card already. Hey, bro, it's your show. I'm here. We just following this lead.
And that's what I feel like whenever Dylan Cruz has talked about being more of a vocal leader and like that, I think that plays into all of that to where he knows that, okay, we've added all of these people through the portal. This is the new age of how kind of college baseball works. But I'm sure he and Jay Johnson had a conversation to say, look, you have to be the one. I know you don't talk a lot. You have to be the one to set the tone for what LSU baseball is, because when you start adding people like they are in the portal, it's easy to lose sight of what LSU baseball is. Like, you can let other people kind of dictate how the program looks, and that's why I feel like Dylan Cruz has been kind of tabbed as, hey, we need you to kind of speak up for what this program is supposed to look like.
And the beauty of baseball, right, as far as building a culture and building a team, like football, you have 85 guys on that team. Right? 85 scholarship guys are in that locker room. That's a lot of dudes, and that's a lot of personalities. That's a lot of, different cultures and different backgrounds that you're coming from, all mixed together in one, right? So it's very hard to get everyone bought in, right? That's why the best coaches do it at the highest rate. Nick Saban, Brian Kelly showing you how quickly he can do it here, and so like you're still going to have, pockets of guys doing some of their own stuff, but if they all believe in that singular message. With baseball, there's not as many guys on the team, right? You're in the locker room every day, same way as football, but you're playing more games. You're in school, so bringing all these new guys in, especially in the fall, and having games played in the fall, to me, baseball is a little bit easier to build that camaraderie and that chemistry early on and quicker than it is for some of these sports that have big. Same with basketball, right? Basketball's only got 12, 14, 15 guys on their roster, and they're with each other all the time, right? You have, inside, everybody's got inside jokes, everybody's laughing at each other. There's got all these things that happen throughout the course of the year, and it's just a smaller group. It's easier, it's more intimate, it's easier to get to know each other. It's easier to get closer that way, and I think that's why you're not seeing a lot of these transfers, buck the system and not really fit in, right? Dude, baseball is, everybody's here for a reason. That's to win a championship, and if you buy in, great. If not, get the fuck out. And that's kind of what Dylan Cruz is probably pushing on them, and not necessarily vocally, but I do. I'm not here just to hang. Like, you ain't here. This ain't a stepping stone right now. Yeah, I hope that you do get drafted in the first round, you get to the big leagues and do everything that you want to do. But this isn't a place where you go just because you want to get drafted. This is a place you want to go because you want to win a national championship, and then if you get drafted after that, that's great.
But the great part, I guess, and to my point to it is, because everything you just said is right, but I think we can all agree, and I think they would all sit in the same room and agree with the same thing is that let's just say they all went out and had their best year. Realistically, like, Skeens is draft eligible this year, right? Mm-hmm. He's maybe the only one because of the two-way ability that could possibly jump Dylan.
Yeah, maybe. On the team?
On the team.
Yeah.
So my point to it is your best player, who is not just like the best player before, when you still bring all these dudes in who are that highly touted, your best player is the one setting the example. That bodes well for a team moving forward. You get what I'm saying? Like that stuff like that is you can't, and I don't know, there's not really a way to manufacture it. It just happened to happen this way this year, right? And that's a good thing for a team that has the expectations that they have. It's
gonna be fun. You're gonna get a ton of baseball coverage. Obviously, that one question sparked a 30-minute conversation on baseball without baseball even starting. So if you're wondering about our baseball coverage, we're ready.
Chopping at the
bit. You ain't gotta worry about it. We got you. We got everything.